All right, good afternoon, everybody. Welcome to my channel. Today is Proverb 6, um, May 6th. So, again, welcome. We're going to read chapter 6. All right, thank you. And this one's warning against folly. All right, verse 1. My son, if you have put up security for your neighbor, if you have struck hands in the pledge of another, like said a good word for them, or you co-signed for somebody. That's basically what they're talking about. If you put a pledge for another, you're co-signing for somebody. If you have been trapped by what you said, ensnared by the words of your mouth, then do this, my son, and free yourself. Since you have fallen into your neighbor's hands, go and humble yourself and press your plea with your neighbor. So basically, you're not gonna put yourself in a situation that you're gonna have to keep either a promise or a debt instrument or some kind of collateral, or by what you're saying out of your mouth. It's basically saying protect your mouth. Allow no sleep to your eyes, no slumber to your eyelids. Free yourself like a gazelle from the hand of the hunter, like a bird from the snare of the fowler. Go to the ant, you sluggard, consider its ways and be wise. It has no commander and no overseer or ruler, yet it stores up its provisions in the summer and gathers its food at harvest. So he's speaking about the ant. He's comparing an ant and to a sluggard. So I'm hearing or kind of sensing maybe like consistency in your life, a diligence, a persistence. If you continue to be persistent, diligent, consistent. Did I say consistent? Well, anyway, consistent, diligent, focused, stuff like that. If you continue to do that, you generate for yourself. It's like energy, but if you're using your energy in a good way, you're being paid back. So it can be paid back in many things, but it's comparing the ant, like worker ants or even worker bees. Well, the ants have a queen, so do the bees, but they just basically know what to do. They get together and they're consistently pushing through. Okay, so verse 9. How long will you lie there, you sluggard? When will you get up from your sleep? A little sleep, just a little slumber, just a little folding of the hands to rest, and poverty will come upon you like a bandit, and scarcity like an armed man. Wow. So, diligence, persistence, hard work, discipline. So, compared to a sluggard who's maybe is not as disciplined, or he spends his energy maybe somewhere else. So it's comparing the sluggard to, you can compare them to two workers. You don't have to compare it to an ant and a sluggard, but you're comparing two different types of personalities of people. Okay, so a scoundrel and villain who goes about with a corrupt mouth, who winks with his eye and signals with his feet and motion with his finger, who plot evil and deceit in his heart. He always stirs up dissension. He's always, he could be negative, he could just be living in the world. Um, they're just not right thinking. And again, it's just comparing two different personalities, people who are prudent and wise, and the people who are just, you know, they could be, disrespectful. They could be talking back to people. They're foolish. They're not. They're not. Just like some of the other proverbs that we have been reading. It's not a teachable person. They're not willing to learn direction or even correction. So it's also important to receive correction. Okay. Let me find out where I was at. I'm sorry about that. Okay. Therefore, disaster will overtake him in an instant. He will suddenly be destroyed without remedy. There are 6 things the Lord hates, 7 that are detestable to him: haughty eyes, like, like whatever, I do what I want, just that being prideful, I think. So, a lying tongue, somebody who's obviously not telling the truth, and this could be for little white lies. Okay, so it's not like, you robbed a bank and you're like, no, I didn't do that. Like, not a big lie, but I'm talking even little lies. God hates that. So, hands that shed innocent blood. Well, we got a lot of that. So God hates that. It just says it right there. Okay, and this is not judgment of people, and I'm talking about abortion. So from me, this is no judgment. Like, I'm just reading what God's word says. So I don't judge people who choose to do that. I I think it's wrong. I would say, hey, like, uh, if you don't do that, maybe somebody else will adopt it. I understand that there's fears. I understand that there's some really ugly people about that too, and they don't give a flying flip. Then my heart becomes a little bit different towards those people. Okay, and that's what God does. He gives people discernment. He gives people wisdom in that. So I guess in a way there is a form of judgment. And so God gives me the ability to judge to have the grace and to have the compassion in some areas. Like, a young girl could have gotten raped and she got pregnant, you know, compared to somebody who's just using an institution for not being pregnant. There's going to be a different call on that. And that's just not against those people, right? There's nothing, like, nobody sets a gavel down and sends them to, like, an eternal punishment. I don't, but I have the right to say, I think you're wrong, and I think that's evil, compared to another young woman who got raped, got pregnant, and doesn't know what to do, and maybe made an abortion. Okay, so there's a difference. Let's not get all politically correct. I don't do all that. Okay. Okay. Hands that shed innocent blood. Okay, this is what God hates. So we're reading off what God hates, because I do want you to know that God hates things. There are things that God hates. God is like, I love everybody, and it's okay what you do, and you can just go, just do what you want to do, and thou art will do, or do thy will, whatever. Like, no, no, no. God hates things. There's there's a standard, man. I mean, it's common sense, right? You don't kill, you don't cheat, you don't lie. I mean, he's telling you right here what he hates. So God has the grace, but God is also he's a father. He corrects. And if he has to, he'll kill you. I mean, if he has to. Because sometimes people just don't listen, and by their choices, they may have been, they could be drunk driving because they can't stop drinking. So God allows you by your choices to do what you want to do. You still have free will, but God does hate things, and we're reading them right now. Okay, a heart that devises wicked schemes, feet that shed to rush into evil, a false witness who pours out lies. We know them too. And a man who stirs up dissension amongst brothers. That's kind of like lying. You're stirring the pot. You're trying to get people fighting. We know who's doing that right now, right? We know who's doing that. Okay, so here they are again. There are 6 things that the Lord hates, 7 that are detestable to him: haughty eyes, a lying tongue, hands that shed innocent blood, a heart that devises wicked schemes, feet that are quick to rush into evil, a false witness who pours out lies, and a man who stirs up dissension amongst brothers. Those are the things that God hates. He sure does. Okay, so we're going to go back to the commands, what we were reading before. Now he's telling his people or his children, my son, keep the father's commands, because you won't be doing these other things. And do not forsake your mother's teaching, and bind them upon your heart forever. Fasten them around your neck. When you walk, they will guide you. When you sleep, they will watch over you. And when you wake, and when you awake, they will speak to you. For these commands that I've given you, so you don't do those things that those other people are doing. Because I love you, and I'm correcting you, and I'm showing you the right way. For these commands are a lamp. This teaching is a light, and the correction of discipline. There it is, it's discipline. God disciplines those who he loves. And if your parents are disciplining you, or if your boss is disciplining you, or if a marriage is like the partner is correcting you, that's love. Okay? This teaching is a light, and the correction of discipline are in the way of life, keeping you from the immoral woman, from the smooth tongue of the wayward wife. Not life, but wife. Do not lust in your heart after her beauty, or let her captivate you with her eyes. For the prostitute reduces you to a loaf of bread, and the adulteress preys upon your very life. Can a man scoop fire into his lap without his clothes being burned? Nope. I don't think so. Can a man walk on hot coals without his feet being scorched? I mean, I don't know if that's real or not, but I know what you mean. So is he who sleeps with another man's wife. He's in the fire. He's playing with fire. No one touches her will go unpunished. Men do not despise a thief if he steals, to satisfy his hunger when he is starving. Yet if he is caught, he must pay sevenfold. So he still has to pay the price, but don't despise him. Don't, you know, it says don't despise a thief. Yeah, don't despise him, but he's got to do his time. Yet if he is caught, he must pay sevenfold. Okay. Though it cost him all the wealth of his house. But a man who commits adultery lacks judgment. Whoever does so destroys himself. Blows and disgrace are his lot, and his shame will never be wiped away. For jealousy arouses a husband's fury, and he will show no mercy. When he takes revenge, he will not accept any compensation. He will refuse the bribe, however great it is, because that's all he's going to see. He's going to see that his bride's been cheating. She's going to see that her husband been cheating. That's all you're going to see. And there's vengeance. That's it. You go red. You go black. You black out. It's over. It's over. So don't put yourself in those situations. So later in the chapter, he's reminding, hey, remember my commands, what I was teaching you, not to go in those directions. That's why I love you. Continue to receive correction and discipline. Okay? So God bless you. I hope that helped. Have a good day. God bless. Bye.